Hi, it's Dwyer. It is after the weigh-in. It's November 15th, 2024, the day of the fight. Jake Paul against Mike Tyson. Or if you want, Mike Tyson against Jake Paul. Let's just offer some post-weigh-in thoughts. But first, remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now let's just point out the obvious here. If you were to see heavyweights and one heavyweight for a big fight gain more than 27 pounds and is coming in 27 pounds heavier than they have ever fought against a guy who has a knockout ratio higher than 80%, you would say to yourself, wow, this is going to be different. Will this guy who has gained 27 pounds be able to carry the weight? How will this 27-pound weight gain affect that fighter's stamina? Right, you would be hesitant to bet on that fighter, especially if that fighter had no experience fighting in the heavyweight division. Now, folks, I know it's hard to go against crowds. Trust me, I understand it. People laugh at you, right? You don't have the safety in a conversation of fitting in. I get all of that. But folks, you have to understand, this Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight continues to look like a heist to me. In earlier videos, I talked about Jake Paul being a cruiserweight. He never weighed more than 200 pounds for a fight in the past. And he has gained more than 27 pounds for this fight against Mike Tyson. Right? Understand, folks, Jake Paul has never carried this much weight into a fight. And he's fighting a guy who he feels he's going to have the hand speed advantage on. Picture that. Right? He's fighting a guy who, his last opponent, Hall of Famer Roy Jones, says still has a punch, to the point where Jones, who's had many fights, who himself has been heavyweight champion, openly admits has never been hit harder in a fight than he was hit by Mike Tyson. Right, folks? This is ridiculous. What is Jake Paul still doing as the favorite in this fight? All you have to do is look at the weigh-in numbers. Right? The question you have to ask yourself is the weigh-in legit? Did Jake Paul gain 27 pounds between fights? Right, folks? He hasn't been hit by a heavyweight in the past. Here he's in against one of the hardest punchers pound for pound in boxing, a sport in which power is the last to go, and he's going to be 27 pounds heavier. Right, folks? You and I know that you'd be concerned that a fighter might lose some foot speed, might lose some speed in general, jumping 27 pounds between fights. Just understand that the people betting on Jake Paul are getting well less than an even money rate of return. The Mike Tyson bettors, the people betting on Tyson, have Tyson in at a great weight for Tyson, right? He's below 230. Great weight for Tyson. We already know Tyson's punching power. We already know Tyson's level of opposition, right? Understand, Mike Tyson in his career fought people like Larry Holmes, Michael Spinks, Razor Ruddock, right? Evander Holyfield. Lennox Lewis, would it shock you to know that Mike Tyson, in his career, and I know that career was decades ago, but in his career, Mike Tyson has a higher knockout percentage than Jake Paul, whose last 3 fights have been against Andre August, Ryan Borland, and Michael Perry. Right, so folks, forgive me. This has heist written all over it. You're going to be in the casino one day, they're going to be laughing at you. Your neighbors might be laughing at you. They say, hey, player, what are you going to be doing Friday night? And you say, I'm going to be watching that Netflix fight. Mike Tyson against Jake Paul. They might be laughing at you for watching the fight. Who knows? Maybe the stadium empties out before this Tyson-Jake Paul fight happens. For gamblers, this is a great opportunity. I'm getting Mike Tyson at a plus 180. After a weigh-in where his opponent, coming off a win against Mike Perry, right, July the 20th of 2024, has gained 27 and a quarter pounds since that match. In other words, folks, the person you saw in the buffet line who looked like Jake Paul in the last 3 months, that person may well have been Jake Paul. You've got to be kidding me. This is one of those weigh-in stories where you're looking at the weigh-in and you're thinking, well, there's not going to be any news here. Then suddenly they tell you Jake Paul, 227 and a quarter pounds. And you had to think, whoa. What's going on here? You're saying, don't tell me Jake Paul is going to fight Mike Tyson weighing 27 more pounds than he's ever weighed in a boxing match. Do the research. If you find out that that's in fact the case, I'm just telling you, changing things for a fight, particularly a fight against a decorated former heavyweight champion, is perilous. Right? You think I'm going to show up to fight Tyson Fury and I'm going to say, you know what? Let me just add 27 pounds for this fight. Let me just come into this fight heavier than I've ever been. You think that's a winning formula? You're going to fight Daniel Dubois, fast hands, heavy puncher, and you're going to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to gain 27 pounds, and I'm going to have just blind faith that if this fight goes to the later rounds, I'm still going to have the stamina that I had at 200 pounds. What could possibly go wrong? If you, like me, feel the answer is a hell of a lot, then that weigh-in should have you, even if you're a skeptic, if you're thinking, man, 58, my Uncle Fred isn't that old, and he's an old man. Even if you're a skeptic, you had to look at that weigh-in and you had to say, whoa, did I hear that right? What's in this coffee I'm drinking? Did they say 227 pounds for Jake Paul? Right, folks, it doesn't work against this level of opponent. Tyson's taking the fight seriously. I don't think this is a gimmick. I think Tyson understands that this is just the first payday among many that Tyson's in line to get if he destroys Jake Paul. I know Tyson is saying, hey, I don't care about my legacy. I'm just living life in the moment. Right? I know Tyson's saying all that. If Tyson doesn't care about his legacy, what's he doing coming in looking like this? There's another side, by the way, to that weigh-in. It's where you're looking at Mike Tyson and you're thinking, wow, there's no fat on him at all. Now let me add a caveat to this. In boxing, we've heard stories, including one involving Roy Jones, of guys wanting to look heavier at a weigh-in. and having quarters, having having weights on them, right? Jones supposedly, this is boxing, it's an outlaw sport. Jones supposedly, when he fought for the heavyweight title, didn't even weigh as much as he weighed in, right? If you go back and look at the film, Jones is wearing pants and stuff like that, right? At heavyweight, we don't really care about the weights, right? Jones is wearing pants, and an argument can be made Roy didn't really dress down for the weigh-in. Look at the film of this weigh-in. Is Jake Paul not really 227? Is this part of a lead-in to the fight where Jake Paul somehow made himself weigh 227 pounds? Either way, I think he's damned. Right, folks? This is the heavyweight division. This isn't a game. Right, folks? The guys are big in the heavyweight division. Right? If Jake Paul really is walking around at 200 pounds and he's about to fight Mike Tyson, folks, I'm just telling you that Alexander Usyk, former cruiserweight himself, a guy who had a problem keeping Derek Chisora off of him when he got to the heavyweight division, would have his hands full the first 3 rounds against Mike Tyson, particularly if they're 2-minute rounds. And Usyk is a reigning heavyweight champion. Right? If you believe Usyk would gain 27 pounds to fight Mike Tyson, you're kidding yourself. Right? How do you gain 27 pounds in less than 3 months? Excuse me, less than 4 months. It's July 20th to November 14th, yesterday, when the weigh-in took place. How do you gain 27 pounds and still stay in shape? If the answer is you can't, and if that weigh-in was legit, Jake Paul is in even more trouble than I suspect. And understand, I'm backing the guy who right now is a plus 180 underdog. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by. I like Tyson in this fight. You know, quite frankly, after the weigh-in, I think the odds on Tyson by stoppage have jumped. Let me just say, you don't even have to get greedy. A plus 180, and you get Mike Tyson against the guy coming off a fight against not Zhilei Zhang, not Tyson Fury, not Daniel Dubois, not Alexander Usyk, but Mike Perry. I'll take the 180. I'll be the casino's Huckleberry. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.